Hi, I'm David Goforth with Cooperative Extension Successful Gardener. Here in December it's a little bit harder to get your fruits and vegetables, but it can still be done. There's basically three strategies we use to have fresh vegetables during the winter. One is to have things that will actually last, such as this winter squash here. It will last. The other thing is to grow some of the crops that we can grow during the winter months. This Swiss chard. Swiss chard is what Yankees eat before they learn about collards. But collards is another one. Turnips is another crop that'll grow this time of the year. This is some cilantro right here that is also growing this time of the year. And the third strategy is to use some kind of season extension. Here it is December and I've got fresh green beans. These actually come from my high tunnel. I wanted to show you a project that I've been working on here with some of the farmers at the Elma C. Lomax Incubator Farm Park. The Incubator Farm is a project where we're trying to teach young farmers and new farmers how to become farmers and get them started on a 2 or 3 year project to spin them out with their farms. And some of the farmers got together out here as an enterprise team and started work on this high tunnel that you see in the background here. This high tunnel is so it started around September the 19th. We started putting the post in the ground and it should be fully functional here in a few more days. Let's take a look at some of the structure inside here. A high tunnel looks a lot like a greenhouse, but unlike a greenhouse, it does not have a source of heat. So we're not trying to get maximum growth all winter long. We're just getting growth a little bit longer into the fall and a little bit earlier in the spring. For something like the green beans here, I'll probably pick them maybe once or twice here in December and then they'll play out, whereas outside they played out in October, mid-October. On other things like the kale and the collards, they will go on into January and February. We hope to be harvesting here all the way through March with our stuff that we're planting along now. Most of your high tunnels are made from metal, a conduit. We chose to make this one from wood. A little bit more trouble to put up, but it did cost about 1/5 of what a regular high tunnel would cost. That counts the hardware and everything. We did go to the trouble of putting a drop-down side on it. We're going to try to automate this drop-down side. We've got it manually now where this side will drop down here to give you some ventilation through here. And we'll have some vents up in the end that will give you a ventilation. You still need ventilation, but we're not using any additional heat, which will cut down on our cost a little bit, but the trade-off is we will not be able to carry it all winter long with some of the tender season crops. Let's take a look at some of the crops that we've got here in this high tunnel. These are the crops we're growing in the high tunnel right here. All of these you could grow in your garden for the October-November time frame, as we normally do turnips or collards. In a high tunnel, we're again shooting for the January, February, March time frame, but we've got some different crops in here going already. This is a lettuce, a head lettuce or a butter crunch type lettuce that is looking very beautiful right now. Here we've got some turnips. These turnips are not quite ready. They're coming on. You can see a small heads on them right now, but they will size on up here shortly. We've already harvested some radishes out of here. Here's one of the radishes that was left after harvest. So these crops, we're very familiar with these crops here. Some of the crops you may not be familiar with is some of the Asian greens. We've got tok choy down here, we've got mizuna, and we've got pak choy over here. Here's another mizuna that we'd harvested this mizuna, and hopefully it'll be coming back for us again so that we'll be able to harvest it again in about 4 weeks. Mizuna is probably close to the mustard that we grow here in the United States and North Carolina. This is pak choy here, which can be used either in stir fry, cooked, or it can be eaten in a salad raw. Fairly versatile. We've also got some spinach planted, as well as some dill and additional red lettuce and parsley coming on. Along this north wall here we've got collard plants, and down yonder we've got kale. These are varieties that we'll be able to actually cut leaves off of, sort of prime them, if you will, all the way up during the winter. And they're a little bit later than what you would have outside. In fact, these right in here don't even have the sweet taste yet because they've been protected from some of these frosts by the structure that we have. And the kale, we're using a winterbore kale, which again, that will be one that we can continue to cut and prime as we go up it. Of course, a high tunnel is a little bit more than you'd probably want to put in your backyard, but you can put in a cold frame, or you can use a product like this. This is row cover. One brand name is Remay, Agronet, Agribond. There's a number of different names for this particular product right here, which is basically a spun bond polyester. It's not woven, it's just sort of spun bond polyester. It will allow sunlight to go through it, it'll allow rain to go through it, but it will give you several degrees of protection. And on something like lettuce, it works very well. Here, the grower has got it supported with a fiberglass rod. You can also use conduit to support the Remay and pull it over this during times when you've got colder temperature at night or something, when you're working to try to keep your lettuce a little bit fresher, going a little bit longer. And this will allow lettuce to go on into the January, February time frame by itself. Plus give you a few degrees earlier start, and allow your spinach and stuff to start off earlier in the spring. And again, the late February, early March time frame for the spring crops. So there are several ways that you can get fresh vegetables during the winter. If you have any questions about any of these crops, give me a call at the office. And until next time, plant and plant for a better world.